Larry Haas is with me. He's a senior fellow at the American Foreign Policy Council, former White House official. Larry, your takeaways here. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, too. I don't think you should focus on the New York mayoral race. It came down in the end to two Democrats running against each other, one of them running as an independent. The real big stories are Virginia and New Jersey. They are statewide races. Abigail Spanberger, a centrist Democrat, won by the largest margin that a Democratic candidate for governor has won in Virginia since 1961. Mickey Sherrill, the Democratic centrist who won the governorship in New Jersey, won by an enormous rout over a Republican who almost won a few years ago. If you track the margins for the Democratic victories, both in those states as well as elsewhere, you find that the Democratic candidate, in essence, got a total that basically matched the president's disapproval rate in that state. So to the extent that someone got 55% of the vote, the polls show that the disapproval rate in that state for President Trump was 55%, and so on. It really tracked very closely. The California redistricting initiative is going to win by something like a 2-to-1 margin. And then below these very high-profile contests, at the statewide level, public commissioner races in Georgia, races in Mississippi, Democrats won in places they almost never win. So this is a massive repudiation of President Trump, and Republicans today, I can tell you in Washington, are terribly concerned about the midterm elections for next year.
Yeah, what does it mean for the ongoing U.S. government shutdown as well, Larry, which now is the longest in U.S. history?
Well, there's no question that Democrats are going to feel they have a lot more leverage. They're going to feel like they can get more from Republicans in terms of negotiating an end to the shutdown. The public is largely blaming President Trump and Republicans for the shutdown, giving Democrats a lot of leverage. That in combination with the election results. Having said that, I think that the shutdown will soon come to an end. I think all parties realize that really we've got to bring the government, back to normality. But it'll be done more on Democratic terms than it will otherwise have been before last night.
How do you think the president is going to interpret the results, Larry?
In the privacy of his office, he's going to understand what they mean. Publicly, he's going to try to, deflect attention by blaming it on bad candidates and all the rest. But I must say, Todd, the last 24 hours have not been kind to the president. Not only did he suffer these massive losses that were essentially a referendum on, his presidency less than a year in, but, the oral arguments before the Supreme Court today on the tariffs case, conservative justices are very skeptical if the president has the power that he is assuming to impose these tariffs. So the last 24 hours have been pretty tough on President Trump.
Hey, one last question back to Mamdani and the win in New York City, and whether you think he provides Donald Trump with a useful foil now, because he is quite left-wing and many different policies here.
No question about it. And Trump is going to try, and the Republicans are going to try. I think they're going to be less successful than otherwise because of the victories of centrist Democrats, in particular, Virginia and New Jersey, those gubernatorial successes. I mean, these are classic centrists with national security credentials. The party is going to emphasize their victories. I think they're going to be national leaders. I think there are other centrist Democrats around the country, like Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania and Governor Beshear in Kentucky and others. And I think the Democrats are going to make them the face of the party. So Mamdani is a problem for Democrats, but I think he's less of a problem than he would have been if not for these massive victories, particularly by centrists at the gubernatorial and at other levels.
Larry Haas, our U.S. political analyst, with his take. Good to see you as always, Larry. Thank you.
You're welcome, Todd. Thank you.